Hi, my name is Leslie Culver, and I am the founder of ReO Institute. I thought I'd take a couple of minutes just to introduce myself and my company and give you a little bit of background as to how I got started. I'm going to do that with two stories. The first story is when I was in law school, finishing my first year of law school, so this is around 2000, and I am leaving the parking garage coming into the law school for an award ceremony. As it turns out, I had received the highest grade in my legal research and writing class, so I had entered the class and I was coming to get an award. I've got my business suit on, right? I'm looking all dapper, and I'm coming into the law school and I fall in step with a white male attorney. He did present himself as an attorney, so I wasn't guessing there. He was telling me that he was also there to sort of watch somebody else get an award. And then he asked me if I was the photographer. And I just remember in that moment, knowing full well that I did not have a camera on me, I actually found myself looking at myself to see if I had a camera on me to be sure that I wasn't the photographer. And I was like, no, I'm getting an award. He was like, oh, okay, good for you. So I went in, I got my award, but what I remember of that moment is that question that he asked me, are you a photographer? And that still stays with me today. I mean, this is 20 years later, and that moment still stays with me, and it robbed me of my joy of a really hard-earned award. The second story, let's fast forward a couple of years. I'm now in practice at a fairly large civil litigation firm in Missouri, and I was doing a research project for a partner, and it was a quick turnaround research project. So meaning I only had a couple of hours to do it. I didn't have days, I didn't have weeks. So I researched the project, I got it all in. In my mind, I remember proofreading it, and I turned in what I thought was exceptional work. I'm waiting nervously in my office. I'm a junior attorney. He calls me into his office. And the first thing that he says, he's sitting back, and it's a white male partner, senior partner, and he's sitting back in his chair and he says, you had a typo. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm so sorry. And as it turns out, it wasn't a typo actually, be correct, it was a proofreading error. And I had the word form, F-O-R-M, instead of from, and I just didn't catch it. Then he proceeded to tell me because of that error, he redid my entire research work. And then finally gets to the part that he found that my research was spot on and he came to the same result. And then that was it. Like the conversation just sort of ended. He never asked me to do any more work for him. And I carried this form from debacle with me for a really long time. I wore it as a scarlet letter. I eventually left practice. I quit. I felt paralyzed by being so unprepared for the legal profession. And so I tell you those two incidences because I learned two things. First, it didn't matter my accolades. It didn't matter that I was on Law Review, that I was a TA, that I was on moot court, that I placed second in my trial ad, that I was a faculty fellow. I don't even know all the other things, right? I did a clerkship. Those things didn't seem to matter to prepare me for that moment, nor to justify, I suppose, like not having to redo my work. The second thing that I learned that I take away from all that is that I was simply unprepared. I was unprepared at walking into that law school as the photographer. I was unprepared with this form from incident. I was unprepared with the language to understand how to process that and the tools to not feel so disempowered. And it's from that moment, I quit the profession and I got into legal academy, and I still took me a while to get my confidence back. And I'm now in the academy for 12 years, and the stories like mine back in 2000 and back in 2003, they're still the same. It's just a different student. It's still the same. It still has nothing to do with contracts, has nothing to do with trust and estates, has nothing to do with biz orgs. It has to do with something with their ethnicity or their hair or their accent or something else about them that they can't change but has made them feel othered. And now they've worked so hard in law school, gotten the degree, done all the things that is supposed to make them credible, and yet they get into these experiences and on their job and they're feeling disempowered. And I was frustrated by that. So ReO Institute stands for Rethinking Otherness. It is literally my hope to pay it forward to help the profession rethink how we think about otherness and the fact that we're all multiple identitied beings. And I approach this work, I approach this platform from the lens as a Christian, that God didn't create this division that our history has created. And so I'm just trying to do my small part to try to bring reconciliation, to try to bring understanding. And I use intercommunication tools. I use identity performance tools. I use other tools to equip people, to educate people, and to empower us to move towards a more diverse, a more inclusive, and a more equitable legal profession. I would love to speak with your organization, to speak with your faculty, to speak with your students, to give trainings, seminars, workshops, orientations to help us all in this space. So again, my name is Leslie Culver, and this is ReO Institute. Thanks.